Alright, Natalia. Today I will be showing you how to play zilean. First things first, Q. This is, if you hold it down, is the area where you can shoot your Q. If you try and aim outwards, it will move you until you actually are in the range of your Q, and then it'll throw it. If you put it onto an enemy, like this one, it'll take 3 seconds and it'll detonate and do damage. You can also do this on multiple enemies, including minions or just 2 different champions that we'll use for here and here. And if you click it on him, as he is in the range of this circle, he will also be taking damage from it. Next up, we will have the W, the rewind. If I throw a Q down, it goes on cooldown, but if I hit my W, it comes directly off cooldown. This works really well when you want to do this next move, which is a Q stun, where you would throw a Q, it will hit, you hit your W, throw a second Q before it detonates, and it will stun any champions or minions that would be in range of it. This is really good when you're trying to stop someone from getting to you, or when you have someone who is trying to gauge into a large group. You can also throw this on allies, and when they are thrown onto allies, it also works. The Q stun will also work. And even when you throw your Qs onto an ally, it will do damage to an enemy. This will also work with the Q stun. It will not stun your ally, but of course will stun your enemy. Next up, we have the E. To help us demonstrate this E, we are going to enlist our friend here, second zilean. Hello there. He instantly tries to kill me. How rude. Now, we'll come back here. Now, I currently have 335 move speed. When I use my E, my move speed goes up. It will go up depending on how much the E is. Since I have a maxed out E, it is a 99% move speed buff. I also can use my W to increase that, and to decrease the cooldown of my E and allow me to continuously move forward. Now, if I use my E onto zilean, who has a 380 move speed, 393 actually, 380, 553, either way, if I now if I use my E onto zilean, his move speed will go from 380 down to 112, which is because it will decrease his move speed. The last part of this, I will show how the alt works. Though it seems like it should be very simple to know how this alt works, it is decently confusing to you, Natalia. Now, this alt works is, instead of you dying, you instead will use this alt. Use your alt, and then to go into trouble, set up pause. Now, instead of you dying, you instead will revive. To do this, you would use your R on yourself for this cast, and then for the 5 seconds while you take damage, if you die, you will resurrect. Would be which items you should purchase. Now, since you start with 5 Golden Summoner's Rift, you would probably want to purchase Belty's Edge with 2 pots, as it shows if you're going to be playing for support. And if you're going to be playing for mid, I would recommend probably Dorian's Ring or Tear, as both of them would be really good, since Dorian's Ring would bring in extra AP and health, as well as have your wave clear be much better, as Tear of Goddess would also help with your wave clear, but it would, instead of giving AP, it gives you mana, and it is also a key component to Archangel Staff, which is one of the better items that you can purchase for zilean. Next step would be your mythic. Now, your mythic would change depending on who you're playing with. Usually it would go between a Liandry's Anguish, and a Luden's Tempest, as those are what I think would be the two best items you can give for him. Now, Luden's Tempest is really good for burst damage, and Liandry's is really good for burn and killing tanks. I personally go Luden's Tempest more than Liandry's, since Luden's Tempest does a lot more damage in the long run. You can also choose Everfrost if you're going into a team with multiple champions that have dashes. Like Samira, it's great because it will slow and root enemies depending on where you would hit it, as well as allowing your allies to be able to hit your slow and rooted enemies. For this demonstration, I'll just bring up Everfrost just to show you how it would work. Even using Everfrost, you would click 2, which is what key it is on. It may be on 1, 3, 5, or 6, but usually it would be on 1, 2, or 3, as those are the fastest keys you would be able to click. Now, if I click 2 and I aim the cone for the edge, it will do damage right here, as well as, you don't see it here, but it would also slow them. But if I click the cone where there's a big blue rectangle right in the middle and click it, and instead will root them. Now, for the rest of the build, you would probably want to focus on the mage page. These items might include a Archangel Staff, as that would give high mana and ability power. A Zonia's, which would help against enemies that might want you to die incredibly fast, like a Zed, a Kali, even an AP Malphite. This will help you outlive them, and I'll show you how in a second. You can also purchase items Ravenous Death Cap, which gives you an immense amount of AP, a Cosmic Drive, which gives you high AP, ability haste, and move speed, as well as a Morellicrons, which will give you grievous wounds, which in simpler terms makes it harder for the enemy team to gain life. Now, you do not have to buy these 6 items every time you play zilean. Many of these are situational items, like Morellicrons. If the enemy team does not heal, then there's no need to buy Morellicrons. Instead, you can purchase something like Horizon's Focus or even Shadow Flame. Even a Void Staff, or in very small cases, a Rylai's Scepter would work too. Now, to use Zonia's Hourglass, we'll head over here. If this turret tries to kill me right here, as they're doing damage, if I click 1, go golden, they will not be able to do any more damage to me. Of course, this has a much faster cooldown than I'm doing. It will have a 2-minute cooldown, as well as Everfrost having a 30-second cooldown. Besides that, you should be good to play Natalia. Now, try and actually get some kills out there. Bye-bye.